So let's talk about other reasons why somebody might withdraw. Let's talk about the first one, the most important. Has there been a betrayal of trust? Now, long-term affairs don't usually show up as a person kind of all of a sudden pulling away. But sometimes a person can have a crush on somebody, or they can have gotten a little too close to a co-worker, nothing bad has happened, or maybe they've explored the internet. Maybe they've even created a relationship on the internet. But those kinds of infidelities are usually pending. They haven't gone very far, and the person's in deep conflict about them and doesn't know how to share that with their partner. But there are other betrayals. Like, what if a person's made a very bad business decision that's cost a lot of money? And by the way, this can be either gender. So all of a sudden, they're hoping to fix it on their own or do something that'll make it all right, so they never have to bring it into the relationship, and they're preoccupied and worried about how it's going to happen. Sometimes a friend shows up from the past and wants to rekindle a relationship. And maybe that friend knows things and has had connections in the past that this person doesn't want to come into the relationship for one reason or another. Sometimes, interesting enough, it's a religious conflict. Like, I had a patient who was very strongly committed Catholic, and for some reason, he and a friend began attending a Buddhist ceremony, and he felt much more touched by that. And so he was conflicted about who is God and what is it for him, and how could he possibly talk to his spouse about it. So there are many reasons why a person might feel they're betraying the person they love inside, hoping desperately to resolve it before that person knows about it. And so they appear pulled in, preoccupied, and upset, because they are. Now let's look at another reason. People can have internal personal conflicts. Maybe they had dreams in their lives when they were growing up, and they sacrificed some of those dreams for their relationship. And all of a sudden, they're feeling a little bit torn. Like, maybe what I promise is maybe not what I want to have happen now. How can I have families and friends and family that depend on me and that I'm very, very, very involved with, that would be really wounded if I made a different decision as to what I want to do with my life? Will my partner want to come with me in that? Will they have support for that? We're a team. We demonstrate all our resources. We decide together. But what if I want to do something that will take an inordinate amount of those resources? Maybe give up a career that I'm not happy with anymore, and have to ask my family to sacrifice for me to maybe go back to school, or to take time off or something to just explore what I need to explore. How can I bring that into my family without causing undue distress or sacrifice from other people that I don't want to hurt? So that internal sense of, do I want to restructure my entire life? And how can I do that and stay in a relationship with somebody I love? Okay, let's put another area that would make a person likely to withdraw for some period of time. Sometimes the person has a personal crisis. They've been told they have a terminal illness, or they've been told they have an illness that's going to take a lot of time and effort. Maybe they are agonizing over a dying parent, or maybe they are just wondering how they can survive and how they can solve some problems they have in their lives that they didn't expect to happen, that they didn't know were going to happen. And they don't know how to share that with their partner, because they feel like it's something personal that they have to work through on their own before they can then talk. They tell me they really intend to share those things, but for now, they feel really personal, and they don't want to open them up to judgment or for somebody wanting to ask more, because they're sort of torn up inside, and they don't really know how they could answer those questions. And they think maybe the personal crisis will go by. Maybe the person I loaned money to will pay me, and I won't have to share that. Maybe somebody came from the past and is threatening to bring something up that you haven't talked about. Maybe an old friend whom your spouse dislikes intently is trying to reconnect with you, but you're trying to solve that inside because you're hoping you can just make it go away before anybody else needs to be wounded or hurt by that. Okay, let's look at the next one. Everyone has childhood trauma. Everybody has suffered in some way from something that's happened in their lives over which they had no control. Sometimes those childhood traumas are extremely painful, and many spouses made the decision very early on in a relationship just not to talk about them. Too difficult to go back into, even though they infiltrate and they do affect the way a person behaves in the present. They just never wanted to share it, like a woman who may have given the baby up for adoption, doesn't want anybody to know about. But they have some kind of personal trauma that they just aren't ready to share, never have shared, but it's come up. Perhaps they have a boss, for instance, who's horribly, horribly angry and difficult and hierarchical, and that's the way that person's father was. So all of a sudden they're becoming distressed and upset inside. They may even be deeply depressed in some way, and they don't know how to get out of that depression, but they don't want to share the trauma. And so they're going in trying to figure it out on their own before they, in fact, come back out again. Okay, let's take one more. Past indiscretions. Many people have done things when they were young that were foolish or stupid. They've gotten DUIs. They've helped a friend who was in trouble, but they got in trouble themselves. They've done dumb things. They've lost a lot of money. Maybe they've even been in jail for a short period of time, or they've had a relationship with a married person, much older, something that they've done in the past that at the time they just wanted to do, but now in retrospect feels extremely, extremely embarrassing and painful to talk about. And so that past indiscretion may be coming back to haunt them. Somebody from their past may be emotionally blackmailing them or wanting to come back into their lives and mess up with them or want to reconnect with them. And they don't want to bring that person into their current relationship because it will cause difficulty to the person they're with. So all of us have past indiscretions. All of us have made stupid mistakes in our lives. But when you're very, very close to your loved one, some of those are admitted to, confessed, and talked about. But if you feel that the person you're with would be judgmental or offended or not like you as much or not respect you as much, you may make the decision, I'm just not going to talk about that past indiscretion, but somehow something has happened where I'm now forced to look at it, or I may be forced to look at it, and now I don't know what to do. So I go inward to try to solve that. So let's look at the last one. There are several, but let me just give you one more so you don't get overloaded by this. As people go through life, their desires, their hopes, their dreams, their goals, sometimes they are not what they thought they would be at the beginning when they made promises or they made commitments to live a certain way. And all of a sudden now, those promises don't work anymore for them inside. They are no longer relevant for them inside. Maybe they want to do something completely different, a little like what we talked about before. But maybe they want to actually do something totally different, and they want to start anew with their current partner, choosing new goals, new commitments, new things to look forward to. Maybe they want to downsize because the amount of money that they have to make or earn to keep their relationship going or keep their lifestyle going has become, ominous, overwhelming, heavy to them. Maybe they want to, take a year off and buy an RV and just explore the land, but they're living in a community and with a partner and with children who are deeply involved in their lives. But all of a sudden they're saying, is this the life I want? Is this the life I need? Is this the life that will bring me closer to the person I want to become? And now they don't know how to talk. They don't know how to share. They're absolutely expecting a lot of blowback, and they just don't want to talk. Now, there are some personality characteristics that make people more likely to withdraw and disconnect when they're personally in internal stress. People who want to be good, who never want to cause problems to anybody else. People who want to be stoic and want to be strong and not want to be a burden in any way whatsoever. People that have difficulty anyway talking about things that are really painful to them across the board. Those kind of people are more likely, male or female, to pull in and to not disclose when they want to just fix it on their own and then come out on the other side fine. What is so important is that the partner who feels on the other end of withdrawing partner approach it with inquiry, with compassion, and sometimes with sanction. If you know somebody very well, you can say to them, I know sometimes you've been feeling like things don't matter to you as much as they used to. Is that possibly one of the things that's causing you to withdraw? Or if there is someone else in your life, let's talk about that together, because it's not good for you to be still or quiet. Sanctioning can sometimes really help a person sort of opening up the possibility that they can share without that anticipation of terrible judgment. So I hope this has been interesting. I hope it will be helpful to you. I'll be back with more. And please subscribe to Flourish if you would like to continue hearing from those of us who feel like we really want to reach out and share the wisdom that we've accumulated through all the mistakes and all the time we've spent doing what we do.